Please welcome to the stage Miss Katie Haller.
Thank you. That was a big step for me. I was standing back there, and the whole time I was like, am I going to be as tall as these things? That's all I wanted to know. Almost. I feel like if I tell a bad joke, I'm just going to look at this guy, and he's going to be like, really? Really? He's like very judgmental. All right, he's distracting me. You guys are an awesome crowd. You like laughing? I love that. This place is it's really cool. I feel at home here. I know you're not gonna know this by looking at me, but my dad was born in Africa, so I'm half African, also half British, so that explains this. So basically, he's British, but he was born in Nairobi. He lived there until he was 15. Then he moved back to England, and then he came to America. So I'm basically a white African British American Jew. Yeah. They did not have that bubble when I took the SATs. It was not an option. Being a British Jew is interesting. Like, it has pros and cons. Like, I don't have the best teeth, but I know like so many dentists, so it's fine. And what was really awesome was we got to go to Africa last summer. We got to see where my dad grew up. And I mean, that trip just completely changed my perspective on life. I don't know if you guys know this, but elephant penises are 4 to 5 feet long. I'm 4'11". Okay? Yeah. Yeah. So, but it's like, my whole life I've been walking around just thinking I'm this small person, but I'm actually pretty big for an elephant dick. You know? Yeah. You gotta look at the glass half full is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like I used to think that I have small boobs. I don't. I got pretty big man tits. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have to look at the glass half full. Or the bra half full. So speaking of man tits, I'm single. Good. That's called a segue. And I find dating in New York to be very, very confusing because we're all, everyone's so no one wants to be in a relationship or have anything serious. So dating's kind of turned into this game that two people play where the first person to admit to having feelings loses. That's the only rule. Super fun, really fun. Yeah, it's so confusing. Like, in my head, I'm like, what's happening? But I have to act like I don't care what's happening. What are feelings? I'm so chill, Like, it's rough. It's really, it's hard. And, like, I'm jealous of my parents' generation. It was so much simpler then. Back then, you date a couple people and you have sex with one. Now, you have sex with a couple people, but you only go out for a meal in public with, like, that one really, really special person. It's like, when did the salads start getting tossed before they're ordered? It's not what's supposed to happen. It's a butt stuff joke. So we're all on the same page. Okay. I heard a woo, not judging. I mean, I feel like the internet was just, it was a game changer. That sentence kind of aged me. It's like, that crazy internet, kids, you know it? You know it? But it's like, before the internet, you'd go on a date for a reason. You'd be like, so, tell me about yourself. Now you go on a date, it's like, what do you know? What have you Googled? You know what I mean? It's like, everybody does research, If you end up on a date, like, when I see two people out on it, I'm like, how did you put this together? Congratulations. I don't know. Half the time people don't, like, dating is kind of just a loose term at this point anyway. Sometimes you think you're dating because you're talking, you're hooking up, you're watching Netflix. Turns out you're just friends with Beneflix. That's it. I learned that one recently. And it's lowered the bar for romance. It's sad. Like, I'm actually at the point where if a guy gave me flowers, I'd be like, you're a rapist, okay? Where's your windowless van? Like, why don't you just text me when you're drunk at 3 a.m. like a gentleman, okay? Thank you. Like the fact that dick pics are a thing, that's a normal part of society now. I think that's very sad. Let me ask the ladies, who here has been sent a dick pic? Yes. How many of you have asked for it? None of you. You? Okay. All right. Not judging. This side of the room. I like you guys. I don't know. The thing about dick pics is I feel like you never get the dick that you'd pick if you had the choice. You know what I mean? It's never the one you'd put in your fantasy draft. No. It's always the one that you're like, wow, I hope it performs better than it looks because, ooh, jeez. People blame Snapchat. You know, they're like, oh, it encourages news. I'm like, thank you, Snapchat. No one should ever be looking at a penis for more than 10 seconds. That should not happen. Ever. I don't know. I get a lot of anxiety from texting. I don't know if that's something that you guys can relate to. I just feel like everybody exists on like 5 different social media networks, at least. So, like, you can't dodge anybody anymore. You can't just ignore someone's text message and then take a BuzzFeed quiz because we know you're alive. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, you could find out what Game of Thrones character you were, but you couldn't text me back. Really? What is that? Like, if it's beyond 24 hours, you got to have a good excuse. I'm like, oh, you got mugged. I thought you were ignoring me. Woo, okay. See, we all think crazy. We all think crazy. We just don't say it out loud. That's what happens. Like when you really like someone, like, is there anything worse than when you were waiting to hear back from somebody that you like? I feel like I've like handed them the keys to my self-esteem. I'm like, you be careful with this, okay? Because this just came back from the shop. All right, some asshole just ran into it about a month ago. Then he drove away. And he rear-ended me too. So it was really just a mess. So rude. I don't, do the majority of you have iPhones? No? Really? Yes. Okay. So this is the freakier side of the room, not into iPhones. It's on Facebook too. You can see when somebody is typing. Why is that a thing? Why is that a thing? I don't care if it's my mom, I'm having a panic attack. Because like, especially like when it's someone you like, you know, the whole point of texting is that you can act way more confident than you are. And so you gotta think about this. Like your witty banter needs to be on point. You can't just be throwing emojis around all willy-nilly. You need a game plan. And when you know that they can see you typing, it's like they're standing there with a stopwatch like, oh, you're typing. Oh, you stop. Oh, you're typing again. Oh, you're working really hard on that. You must really like me. I have actually felt like I've been typing for too long, so then I just pressed space and like put my phone away, and then came back and was like, oh, whoops, yeah. Little tip for you guys. Yeah, pro tip. I don't know if I'm a pro, but I think it's just as bad when you're the one getting the text. Because, like, let's be honest, like, when you see those dots, like, what are you going to do? Look away? No. You stare at it, and you wait, and 2 minutes go by, and you're like, well, clearly this is a soliloquy, you know? And then all they say is, sounds good. I'm like, back up, okay? You went through some shit to get there. Like, I know there was an editing process. Okay, one time it took me half an hour to come up with no worries, have a good night. Half an hour. And you know what the key was? It was no worries, 2 S's, have a good night, because it was like way more chill. All right, I hope you guys learned something. I'm Katie Haller. You guys have been awesome. Enjoy the rest of the show.